The town of Wushan, an ordinary little town located within the Kingdom of Finale, west of the mountain range of magical beasts, the largest mountain range within the Yuan continent. As the morning sun rose in the town of Wushan, there remained a slight hint of the cold, pure pre-dawn air. However, virtually all of the citizens of this small town had already come out to begin working. Even the 6 and 7-year-old children had already gotten out of bed and were preparing to begin their traditional morning exercises. On an empty area in the eastern region of Wushan town, the warmth of the rays of the morning sun passed through the surrounding trees, leaving behind scattered spots of light on the empty ground. A large group of children could be seen there, approximately 1 or 200 in number. These children were separated into 3 groups, each group divided into several lines. All of the children stood there silently, their faces solemn. The northernmost group of children were approximately 6 years old, the group in the middle approximately 9 to 12 years old, the ones in the south 13 to 16 years old. In front of this large group of children, there were 3 sturdily built, middle-aged men. All 3 of them wore short-sleeved shirts and roughly cut trousers. "If you want to be a powerful warrior, then you must work hard from youth," the leader of the middle-aged men said to them. He swept his cold, fierce gaze across the northernmost group of children. All of the 6 and 7-year-olds tightened their lips. Gazing at this man with their big round eyes, none of them dared to make a sound. The leader's name was Hillman. He was the captain of the guard for the Baruch clan, the noble clan which owned Wushan Township. "All of you are commoners. Unlike those noble families, you won't have access to any secret manuals, teaching you how to cultivate Battle Key. If you want to become someone of worth, if you wish to be respected, then all of you must use the most ancient, most simple, and most basic ways of improving yourself, through exercising your bodies and building up your strength. Am I clear?" Hellman swept the group of children with his gaze. "Understood," the voices of the children replied brightly in unison. "Good." Satisfied, Hellman coldly nodded. The eyes of the 6-year-old children displayed their confusion, while the eyes of the teenagers became very determined. They understood the meaning behind Hillman's words. Virtually every male in the Yuan continent would exercise very hard from a very young age. If anyone slacked off, in the future, they would be looked down upon by others. Money and power, these were the things that determined a man's status. A man without power would be looked down upon, even by women. If one wanted their parents to be proud of them, wanted women to worship them, and wanted to live a glorious life, then they must become powerful warriors. All of them were commoners. None of them would have access to any of those precious manuals which taught the arts of cultivating Battle Key. Their only road to glory was through exercising from a young age and gathering strength. They would work themselves harder than those nobles, spend more of their energy and blood in strengthening themselves. When the sun rises in the morning, all things begin to thrive. This is the best time to absorb the natural energy from your surroundings and improve the conditioning of our bodies. Same rules as always. Legs spread apart as wide as your shoulders. Both knees bent slightly, both hands pressed down at the waist. Assume the key building stance. When assuming this stance, remember, focus your concentration, maintain a calm mind, and breathe naturally, Hillman coldly instructed. The key building stance was the most simple yet most effective way of exercising one's body. This was based off the experiences of generations of forefathers. Immediately, the nearly 200 children assumed the key building stance position. "Remember, focus your concentration, maintain a calm mind, and breathe naturally," Hillman said coldly as he walked amidst the children. At a glance, he could tell that the teenagers in the southern group were all maintaining the stance calmly and breathing naturally. At the same time, all of them attained the goals of being stable and steady in their stance. Clearly, they had attained some degree of proficiency in the key building stance. But glancing at the northernmost group of children, with their waists and knees crooked at odd degrees, their legs relaxed and loose, it was clear to Hillman that they were standing unstably and without any power. Hillman said to the 2 other middle-aged men, "The 2 of you take charge of the south group and the middle group. I will take care of the youngest children." "Yes, Captain." The 2 middle-aged men immediately obeyed, paying close attention to those 2 groups. Every so often they would kick the legs of those teenagers, checking to see who was standing firmly and who was not. Hillman walked towards the northernmost group of children. Those children immediately became nervous. "Crap, the headmaster is coming," a golden-haired child with large, bright eyes named Hadley said in a low voice. Hillman strode into the midst of the children. Staring at them, his face was cold, but in his heart he was sighing. These children are just too young. They are just too lacking in both wisdom and strength. I can't demand too much from them. However, it's still good to get them exercising from a young age. If they work hard from a young age, in the future, when they are on the battlefield, they will have a much higher chance of surviving. And to teach young children, getting them interested was the most effective way. If he forced them too hard, it would have the opposite effect. All of you, stand firm, Hillman coldly harumphed. Immediately, all of the children straightened, sticking out their chests and staring straight ahead. A hint of a smile played at Hillman's lips. He then moved to the front and took off his shirt. The lines running across the powerful muscles on his body made the eyes pop out of all the kids. Even the children in the middle and southern groups couldn't help but stare at him, admiring his physique. Aside from his perfect musculature, on Hillman's bare upper body there were countless knife scars, sword scars, and dozens of other old wounds. All of the children stared at these wounds, their eyes shining. Knife scars, sword scars, these were a man's medals. In their hearts they were filled with veneration towards Hillman. Hillman, a mighty warrior of the 6th rank, a warrior birthed from life and death struggles. Even in the large cities, he would be an amazing individual. In the tiny town of Wushan, he was a man who every single person venerated. Seeing the ardent gazes of the children, Hillman couldn't help but let a slight smile escape. He wanted to stir up a feeling of worshipfulness in the children, a desire to be like him. That way, they would work harder and be more motivated. Let's add some more fuel to the fire. Hillman secretly grinned and then walked in front of a giant boulder which weighed 300 or 400 pounds. With one hand, Hillman grabbed the boulder. In a very relaxed manner, he began to brandish it about. That 300-pound boulder in Hillman's eyes seemed to be as light as wood. Too light. Lori, if you have some free time after training, go and get some larger boulders for me. With a casual toss, Hillman sent the boulder flying several dozen meters. It smote the ground next to a large tree, and the entire ground trembled. Hillman casually walked in front of some random stones. Hillman breathed deeply. All of the veins on his muscular body popped out prominently as Hillman directly struck the nearby bluish boulder. His fist shattered the air, creating a howling sound that made all of the watching children widen their eyes even further. Hillman's mighty fist smashed directly onto the boulder. The sound of the fist smashing onto the boulder made the hearts of all the children tremble. That was an extremely hard bluestone boulder. The bluestone boulder trembled. Suddenly, 6 or 7 giant cracks appeared on it. As with a ping sound, it split into 4 or 5 pieces. But on Hillman's fist, not the slightest injury could be seen.